Do you want to build AI agents that can supercharge your business? Then this video is for you. I'm going to provide you with a complete roadmap that I would follow if I had to start over building AI agents in 2025. Over the past 1.5 years, I have built over 50 AI sales agents and made countless tutorial videos on this channel, and I'm going to share all the information that I learned in one video with you guys today. I'm going to show you exactly what tools to harness, how to connect your agent to a CRM system, and so much more. And the best part is, at the end of the video, I'm going to share all the resources that I go over in this video with you guys completely for free. So without any further ado, let's jump right into it. So jumping right into how I would build these, there are two different approaches. There's the no code versus the code approach. No code means that you don't need to code, or maybe it's a low code approach where you do a little bit of JavaScript, but you can help yourself out with ChatGPT or hire freelancers for that specific case. Tools like Flowise, which we're going to be using in this video, or N8N make it super easy for a beginner to use a visual drag and drop interface to actually start building out these agents. The other approach is the code approach, where you have more flexibility and customization, but you need the technical experience to be able to actually develop an agent using Python, for example, which can be overwhelming if you're just starting out. As you start scaling, you will realize that you're going to switch more from the no-code and low-code approaches to more of a code approach, because you're able to bring on team members who can assist you with those tasks. I personally don't code. I'm not a developer, but we have very, very smart people on the team who do. So combining no-code and low-code with some code can be a very effective strategy. But in this video, don't worry at all. Everything I'm going to show you can be done with absolutely zero coding experience. In order to expand on the no-code, low-code approach, let me introduce you to Flowise, which is what I would recommend anyone to use if you're getting started with building AI agents. I am right now in a self-hosted Flowise, and I'll show you how to host Flowise in just a second and how it works. But this is what the interface looks like. I can open a new chat flow. I can call it My AI Agent, and this is now My AI Agent. It's a simple drag and drop interface where, for example, you can go to agents. There's a lot of different agents. In this example, I'm going to use the tool agent. And this agent now, when you click on additional parameters, has one massive system prompt where you can actually go in and build out your prompt for your agent. These are the instructions that you give to your agent. You can connect it to tools. So for example, if you wanted to update a CRM, which I'm going to get into later in this video as well, you can use a custom tool, and you can actually use Zapier, for example, to connect this agent to the tool, and it can smartly execute this tool. You can give it access to your memory, where, for example, you can use MongoDB as your memory, or you can use the built-in memory node inside of Flowise, which is the buffer window memory, and simply connect it. This is going to allow your agent to actually have memory for every single conversation that it is in, which obviously is very, very important. And then finally, you can use a tool calling chat model, where in most cases, it will make sense to actually use OpenAI, and you can connect your API OpenAI credentials here. So now that you're kind of familiar with how Flowise works, we're going to get into how you can actually set up your environment. Your core environment is going to be where you're hosting and building your agent and where it's basically going to live. So the first one is cloud infrastructure, and you can think of this as the server or the hosting for your agent, which is basically where your agent lives. For this, you need to make sure that it has sufficient resources, it's reliable and does not have a lot of downtime, and it's easy to set up. And I'm going to share the solution with you in just a second. The second one is data storage. As you start to build more complex solutions, you're going to need a place where you can store data, such as a vector database for your knowledge base, or MongoDB, for example, or Supabase for conversation memory. And the third one are your development tools. So this can be, for example, Flowise or N8N. If you self-host them, you're going to host them on your cloud infrastructure. I'm going to share all of this with you, or you can use an out-of-the-box tool, such as, for example, VoiceFlow. However, VoiceFlow doesn't really have the capability to build AI agents. It's more of a chatbot builder. So there's a distinct difference between those two. In order to give you guys some practical advice, let's cover the first point first, which is cloud infrastructure. This is where you're going to be hosting Flowise, which is what we're going to be using in order to build out this system. What I recommend and what I've shown in a different video, which I'm going to put up on the screen here, is Render. You can use Render and set it up very, very easily within 5 minutes and actually have your own instance of Flowise deployed. Flowise is open source, meaning it is completely free. All you need to pay for is the actual hosting on Render, where the cheapest plan for $8 or something around that range is actually more than enough for you to get started. As you start to run more agents and systems on your Flowise instance, you can actually scale up your Render hosting to facilitate that increase of traffic. So step 2. As soon as you've actually set up Flowise using Render, using the tutorial video that I have on this channel, you need to actually familiarize yourself with Flowise and start to get into some more details on how exactly to use it. Now, I have a couple of videos on this channel, but I'm going to share the best resources right here, right now with you to start learning Flowise. I would say it's a very easy thing to get the hang of. If you sit down for only a couple of hours, you're going to be able to already build very nice agents. The first thing first is to explore Flowise resources. There are a ton of resources on YouTube. The official Flowise channel has resources, and there's so many tutorial videos that you can find. The second thing is you can read the actual official Flowise documentation, and all you need to do is go to docs.flowiseai.com, and you can find the full introduction on how exactly to use Flowise. You have a ton of different API references, how to use it, how to configure it, integrations, and much more. The third thing is to actually join the community Discord. So if you just go to Google and you type in Flowise community Discord, you will be able to join the Discord where a lot of users and people, business owners, etc., just like you, talk about Flowise, exchange ideas and solutions, and it's just a great place if you want to learn. And last but not least, you should go check out the playlist on this YouTube channel where I have comprehensive videos on building an AI agent, setting up Flowise, and much more. So I'm going to link the playlist up here on the screen. Now, once you've actually familiarized yourself with Flowise using the resources that I just mentioned, and you're going to be able to find all of those in our free school community at school.com/omnifusion, you need to actually set up your agent and work on effective prompting. Effective prompting is the key to building a successful agent. It's going to make or break your system. So this is something where you really need to spend some time on it and actually figure out how exactly it works. The first step here is agent setup, where you can simply go into Flowise and set up your agent in this way right here. Giving it access to the correct tools, your memory, etc. is going to be a key to actually building a successful system. A custom tool gives you so much power. As you can see inside of a custom tool, I can actually name it. I can describe the tool, which allows the agent to understand when it needs to use the tool. So for example, if a user gives you a phone number, use this tool to save it. By giving the tool this description, the agent will know that it needs to use this tool whenever it receives a phone number. I can now put an input here where I can, for example, call the property a phone number, make it a string, and then briefly describe the user's phone number. And I can add the code down here, the JavaScript function, to actually send this to a specific URL, which can, for example, be Zapier. As I said, watch the playlist on this channel to get into more specifics on, for example, setting up custom tools. We have a lot of videos where we already show you how to do this. The second part is prompt design. And as already mentioned, you need to give your AI precise, easy to follow instructions which don't confuse it. Prompting an agent is a skill, and it's a high value skill which you need to learn if you want to make sure that over the next 5 to 10 years, you stay on top of what is happening in AI. The key elements of a prompt which you need to present are: number one, the context. You need to tell the agent who it is, which company it's working in, what its task is. The second one are more specific instructions. So for example, a script, when to use which tool, what the goal of the conversation is. Then you can give it some input on style. What style do you want the messages to be in? What conversational tone should the agent speak in? And finally, you can add any additional requirements that you want the agent to use. If you use a knowledge base, like for example, Quadrant, where again, in my Flowise playlist, I show exactly how to do that. If you use a knowledge base, a vector store, that is also something which you should specify in the prompt so that the AI is aware that it can call this tool in order to actually get knowledge about your business. And finally, you need to test performance. Once you've nailed down the prompt, once you've added some tools, you need to actually do extensive testing with your agent. Flowise makes this extremely easy because inside the Flowise interface in the top right corner, there's a chat bubble where you can simply speak to your AI agent. You can, at the end of the conversation, click this red button to clear the chat history and restart the conversation from the beginning. When testing your AI agent, there's a couple things to look out for. Number one, you want to make sure that it actually does what it's supposed to do, that it runs the tools when it's supposed to run the tools, that it actually follows the script that you've given it. Those are the core basics of testing. Number two, you want to try and throw it off guard. So for example, if it's an appointment setting AI sales agent, you want to actually throw random objections at it. You want to try and take it on a completely different conversation. For example, you could ask it about how fascinating the moon is and see if it just completely forgets about its script and continues with the conversation about the moon. So with a good AI sales agent, it should always stick to the script. And when somebody tries to deteriorate off the script, it should bring them back by using objection handling. When it comes to testing, I would always recommend multiple people to test it. So for example, you can test it. If you have employees, someone from your team can also test it. If you don't have anyone else to test it, ask a friend, ask a family member just to test the conversational aspect, but testing whether it runs the tools, saves things into CRMs, etc. is gonna be on you. So make sure that you are extensive with it. Now, step 4 is connecting the agent to be able to take real actions. I already briefly touched upon this when it comes to the custom tools, but I'm gonna expand on this a little bit further in this section. Now, the first thing that you need to learn about are API integrations. If API integrations is a completely new word for you and you have no idea how an API works, then I would recommend going to YouTube and finding a tutorial video that explains an API call. You can think of an API call as two systems talking to each other. If one system, in this case your Flowise, makes an API call to another system, which could be your CRM, it is like sending a message. So the API call from Flowise would send certain information as a message over to your CRM system, and that is what we call an API call. It can also work the other way around. So we have our CRM and we have Flowise, and Flowise can now send an API call to the CRM to retrieve information back. So instead of giving information to the CRM, it sends a message and then the CRM sends a message back. That is how API calls work, and you need API integrations in order to build effective AI sales agents. By using API integrations, you can connect your AI sales agent to external services. I already mentioned the CRM as an example, but it can also be an email marketing tool. It can be your funnel builder where you can then send out free lead magnets. It can be anything really where you connect the agent to a tool that you use inside of your business. And another very important use case is when your agent needs to actually schedule an appointment. Because it's an appointment setter, it's a sales agent, it needs to be able to put appointments on a calendar. You can connect your agent with a calendar, for example, where it can actually schedule meetings. You can also connect it to different communication channels. For example, if the agent is talking to a person via SMS, it can also send an email afterwards confirming an appointment, etc. Now, as I said, all of these integrations are going to be done using custom tools inside of Flowise, so please make sure to watch the playlist so that you know how to do this. Step 5 is to connect your agent to a CRM or a messaging channel. Now, connecting to a CRM, we have the option that I just mentioned where you can actually connect it using a custom tool, or you can actually use your agent inside of an existing CRM such as Go High Level or HubSpot. If you put your agent inside of that system, it means that it will have conversations inside that system. I might make a video on this very soon, so leave a comment down below if you would like me to make a more in-depth video on actually taking an AI sales agent and putting it into CRMs such as Go High Level. In this case, it's a little bit different than a custom tool because the agent will actually be living inside your CRM. So when a message comes in, your CRM will trigger an API call to your agent. The agent will send a response back and it will go out to the user inside of your CRM. This is essential for a real AI sales agent system, and there are a lot of videos and resources on how to do this. Another aspect of a successful system is to enable multiple communication channels. What we do at OmniFusion AI is we allow your sales agent to work cross-platform, multi-channel integration, which means that the AI sales agent can call the user, it can text the user, it can go on WhatsApp, it can have a conversation on Instagram, Facebook, it can send them an email. And having these multiple conversation channels is essential to having a really, really good AI sales agent system. So learning how to use these by, for example, integrating through ManyChat, which you can use for WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, or for example, Twilio, which you can use for SMS, for voice calls, for example, retail, where you can also do voice AI. Being able to integrate a sales agent into all of these different platforms is the key to actually giving it power, because a really good human setter would also approach on different angles. So if you call a lead and they don't pick up, you want to send them an SMS. If they don't answer to your SMS, you maybe want to try email. You want to send them a WhatsApp message. So having these multi-channel operations and allowing your agent to retain its memory across all of these channels is something very complex. So I'd recommend first starting with the first steps, but this is definitely part of the process that you need to go through in order to build AI sales agents. If you're a complete beginner, you need to get to that stage as soon as possible, because that is where the real magic happens. Now that we've covered everything from setting up the agent, deploying it, prompting, custom tools, integrating to a CRM, etc., you need to actually work on your agent to make it smarter over time. When you build an agent and you first start using it, it is never completed. You need to make it smarter over time, and you can do that by, number one, tracking results. I already mentioned this at the very beginning of the video, but tracking results really is key to be able to improve your agent. You need to identify at which points in time an agent, for example, loses a lead, when do leads drop off the most, and then you can adjust the scripts, etc., based on the data that you have. Very similar to a human agent, but the benefit is you only need to do it once with an AI sales agent. You need to learn from data. And that is not just data which is presented to you in an obvious way, but you also need to check conversations, actually see how the AI is behaving, see how it's handling objections. Maybe check some conversations of actual calls that were booked. What went well? Iterate on that. What didn't go well with conversations which maybe didn't end up in a booking. Actually diving deep and analyzing specifics of how the AI is behaving is going to work wonders for your AI sales agent system. And number three is to keep improving that system. You don't just iterate once, you check in regularly. Once you have a fully developed system, there are always some tweaks that you can make until you are completely satisfied. A lot of people will deploy an agent and simply forget about it, or build an agent for a client and deploy it and just forget about it. You need to actually stay on top of these things and make sure that the quality is on point and that you improve it until everything is optimized. Especially when you start scaling a sales system like this, the little details, a 0.5% change in one specific conversion step in your conversation can make a big difference when it comes to revenue output or meetings booked on the back end. And step number 7 is to scale your AI sales team. Once you have one agent which is working well, you can start to implement a multi-agent strategy. A multi-agent strategy is where you have AI agents for different sales channels which share the same memory. We use this technology a lot, so we will have one AI sales agent on the phone, we will have one AI sales agent in SMS, which allows you to customize each agent more for that specific platform. But you need to ensure that all agents have access to the same memory. So if I'm talking to a lead via the phone, and then later the other agent is in a conversation via SMS with that same lead, it needs to know what was said on the phone call and vice versa. So having that system really is key. And as you start to build more complex solutions, this is the natural progression that you are going to make. And the second part when it comes to scaling is to tailor your conversations and make them more personalized for every single lead. As you start to collect data, as you start to get more information about your leads, you need to be able to pass that information to your AI sales agent system in order to further personalize things. So for example, something that we do at OmniFusion AI, after 6 months, so let's say a lead is not interested, 6 months later, we will reach out to them again and try and reactivate the lead. This is called lead reactivation. And basically what we'll do is we'll reach out 6 months later, mention specifics about that client. So for example, hi Tom, I remember we spoke 6 months ago and you had the goal of losing 10 kilos, but it wasn't a good fit at the time because you were just transitioning into a new job. How is your current weight loss journey going? So you can personalize based on information that you got in the past and actually make conversations very personal by passing that information to the agent. And that is how I would build AI sales agents in 2025 if I had to start over. And you can take a couple steps right now to help you implement AI inside of your sales processes today. The first thing is you can start for free and join our free school community. You can get instant access to a lot of templates and resources, and you can join right now by scanning the QR code right here or going to school.com/OmniFusion. The second option is getting a custom solution. A lot of you guys watching are business owners who want to use something like this, but don't necessarily have the time or the internal resources to build it. And in that case, you can book a call and check out our website at omnifusion.ai or by scanning the QR code right here on the screen. I hope you found some value in this video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. And other than that, I hope you guys have a fantastic day.